Hello, this is my final project for the Learning Frameworks class at North Central Texas College, taught by Professor Pettus. I wanted to share with y'all what I learned in the class and what I got out of it. There are two main points that I wanted to cover in this video, that is, communication is key and what my future will hold. Now the first one, communication is key, there are 2 points I wanted to cover, that is listening and recording and interpersonal communication. The first one is I've learned about listening. There are 2 main points about listening. There's active communication versus passive communication. If you're passively listening, you're just hearing them, you're not really paying attention, versus active, where you really are paying attention to them, and you are taking what they're saying with no regards really to what you're going to respond to them. There are 4 main listening types, that is action-oriented, time-oriented, personal, and informational. Action, get straight to the point. Time, you have a set specific point, kind of related to action, but not really the same. Personal, talk all day, talk all you want, they'll hear it all. And information, same thing, they'll hear it all, but they want to get to the nitty-gritty, they want to get to the details to solve a problem. And the second thing I wanted to cover is the note-taking, which is, there are 3 main styles that I learned about note-taking. The first one would be Cornell. You got the title, you got the summary, you got the main ideas. Fun stuff. I hardly use this, but I've used this in this past, and it is pretty effective. The second one is as outline, which is this. I use this more often. I prefer it much over Cornell style. You got the main idea, you got the sub-ideas, and you got the details, written out. It's pretty simple, pretty straightforward, and no real geometry going on with the paper. The last one I hardly use, but I can understand people using it, is the main ideas, or is this mapping. You got the main idea here, you got your subclaims, sub-subclaims, your details, etc., etc. And I can see it more for visual learners, but I prefer to use, like I said, the outline. And to further on that point, I've learned about the L-STAR system, which is useful for note-taking. Stands for listening, setting it down, translating, analyzing, and remembering. The first one, listening, you listen to the professor, you scribble down the notes as you go along. Good. Setting it down, you set it down, soak it in a little bit, get ready for your next class. Translating, a little bit later, you translate it, you turn that gibberish into something sensible, into something that you can write out. Analyze it, you analyze that translation, you learn, soak it all in, you learn it for you to remember it for your final or for your test. Second topic I wanted to cover is interpersonal communication. This was really important for me, I believe, because I learned about body language, I learned about the different types of space, personal space, interface space versus out here versus out there. Learning the appropriate space and learning the appropriate time, the appropriate way to speak, it's all very difficult, and it's important with your body language, slunched over like this, or you smiley, cheery, and is your tone of voice like up or down or sad or happy, The most important thing I learned about interpersonal communication is the speaker-listener system. Say, for example, you're having a conflict with somebody. Well, you take an everyday object like this water bottle right here, and they hold it. They are the speaker. They are talking. They are the ones in control. They are the ones that you focus on. You listen to them, and you're taking what they're saying, their ideas, their concerns, and then they'll pass it on to you, and that'll be your turn to speak and their turn to listen, and that'll be a much more mature way to handle conflict, rather than just yelling at each other. And I'm going to take this a long way with me, especially the note-taking styles. I'm going to be using that a lot during college, and the L-STAR system is very, very important for this. And then the speaker-listener system I can take a long way with me as part of any sort of conflict resolution with friends, families, coworkers, bosses. It's very useful, very mature tool to use rather than just yelling at each other. And the second thing I wanted to cover is my future. Now, it's a bit of a nebulous term, but there are some key things that I learned about my future, or learned about what I might be doing. The first one would be I learned about my personality and learning types. The first thing I learned is my Myers-Briggs personality, which is, according to the internet and according to some tests I've taken, is introverted, thinking, intuitive, and judging, or ITNJ. I'm more innovative, I'm more independent, strategic, logical, reserved, straightforward. I drive my ideas, I achieve improvements. I get there, I get the job done. And, but I am a bit more reserved, I feel. Which there are some advantages to some careers and disadvantages to others. Strangely enough, I was a radio DJ for a while, and that's a very strange job to, someone more reserved like myself. My second thing I learned is my learning style, which for me is kinesthetic, which is more hands-on, more get the job done. Wanted to get into engineering, wanted to get into computer programming. I wanted to have more hands-on experience with coding or building things. And I've done that I've done that for a long time as a child. I've taken apart things, I've put them back together, I've taken apart this computer right here, put it back together. I'm more of a hands-on type of learner. And in a classroom setting, I'm more of a writer. I write till the moon and back if I'm listening. And the last thing I wanted to cover is my learning affinity, which I prefer to call it. I forget what it's called in the book, but my learning affinity is more visual thinking and more logical thinking. I think it does make sense for me that I do learn more about that. I do want to learn more about that. Learn about computer systems and all that. Okay, the second thing that I want to cover about my future is my career research. I've done an amazing job with my research. I think, not to brag or anything, but I had an interview with a gentleman named Stuart Carter who works at John Deere, and my goodness, does he have a lot of experience? Does he have a lot of knowledge to pass down to the world? And I just learned a lot about him. I learned a lot from him. Getting into industrial engineering was my research topic, and he just had a lot to say. You have to be top of your game when you work in John Deere, is what I've taken out of it the most. And there are some things that I've learned outside of that independently with my research. I've learned that the salary is okay for industrial engineering. You gotta have your standard Bachelor's of Science in Industrial Engineering or Bachelor's of Science in any sort of engineering. And also, it's a very versatile field to get into. You can work in factories for any sort of company, from textiles to computers to makeup to anything. And what I got out of this is that, what I got out of this for my future is that I sort of have a set goal. I sort of know what I'm doing, and I'm definitely going to be getting into some sort of engineering or some sort of computer science field. It fits my personality, it fits the way I learn. I'm more hands-on, and I will benefit a lot more as a hands-on person. And those are the things that I want. Those are the things that I got out the most out of this class. It's been a wonderful year. I've enjoyed myself, and I hope that in the future that this will be a great learning experience for many others more to come. Thank you very much, and this was my video.